Welcome to the Perception Podcast. Today we are going to be talking about interruption or disruption. Do you interrupt your thinking or do you allow disruption in your thinking? Now let's look at disruption in your thinking. Most people, they allow disruption in their thinking because they lack consciousness and awareness of their thought, and that's why they're having a lot of problem with it. Disruption comes in various forms. Disruption can come in the field of emotion, anger, fear, distrust, or what have you. Disruption takes different form of emotions, and those disruptions come in that form because you lack consciousness or awareness of what your thought patterns are all about. Now let's look at disruption from this perspective. A man who has fear has a disruptive feeling, because the moment you become unconscious and fear grips your thought, everything you think, everything you do, everything you act is as a result of the influence of fear over your thoughts, over the way you think. And that is one form that shapes and creates our feeling beneath the dimension of our thought process. And it's not just a mental issue. It comes emotionally and physically in the form of physiology. This is what disruption does. It affects our health. Disruption is creating room for negative emotions through your mental asset into your physical asset. Disruption. Disruption influences our thinking when we lack consciousness, when we are not aware, and when we allow it to form emotions in our mind. And that begins to influence how we act, what we do, what we feel. This is not a good news. This is not a good news. So what have I been talking about? I'm talking about disruption. Disruption comes in the form of emotions. And when the emotions are negative and it grips you, it can come in the form of fear, in the form of anger, in the form of envy, in the form of jealousy, in the form of distrust, every form of negative emotions. This is what disruption does. So when your thinking is disrupted, these are what you're dealing with. Now, disruption influences, takes over your thoughts, takes over your thoughts and the way you think, and every actions you do, because you lack consciousness and awareness. As I spoke about in awareness, my previous podcast last year, this is what disruption does. Now let's look at how interruption comes in the form of thought. Now when you begin to interrupt your thought, it's a form of awareness you're creating. You're beginning to ask yourself, why am I afraid? What is creating this fear? Where is this fear coming from? Why am I angry? What is creating the anger? Did someone upset me? And why am I acting aggressively? And why am I jealous? Is it that I am envious of him? Or is it that I don't understand something I need to know of what he's doing to make him successful? Rather than for me to envy him, why not ask him, what did it take you to succeed? So you can show me and put me through, so I can also be like you, so you learn to celebrate him. This is what we call interruption. Interruption is coming in and asking questions about the way you think. Why am I angry? What caused the anger? Why am I jealous? Does it really make sense? Why am I envious? What do I need to know that I don't know? What do I need to learn that I don't know? What are the things I need to do that I'm not doing? What sort of information can he have or provide for me so I can also be like him? This is what interruption does. Interruption removes the negativity and brings in the positivity. So what have I been talking about? I've been talking about interruption versus disruption in the way we think. Either we interrupt or we disrupt our thinking. They both have good and bad. Now, interruption is creating consciousness and awareness of why you feel the way you feel and what you can do about it And why is it affecting you in the way it's affecting you? Through your thought process and also your physical process. What are the emotional codes that's associated with it? And what are the things I can do about it? That's what I'm talking about. Now, disruption is not being conscious of your thought, and it's creating negative feelings, negative energy in the form of fear, anger, jealousy, envy, disgust, or what have you. These are negative energy. These are disruptive thoughts, emotions that you're not aware of, that have come to shape you. And all this take another dimension of what we call feelings. The moment your thought process, the moment you're not aware of your thought process, it becomes disruptive. And it takes a form of emotions, and it shapes your mindset, and it now shapes your physical behavior, because the mind is the soil where the seed germinates. Now, you need to metaphorically see yourself as the sand in your mind, and whatever is germinating, you need to be aware of it. If it's not going to yield fruit, you cut it off. If it's going to yield fruit, you wet it and allow it to grow. That's what I'm talking about. This is interruption from a metaphorical perspective, and also disruption from a metaphorical perspective. We need to know what is interrupting us. We need to know what to interrupt. We need to know when to interrupt, rather than allow disruption to come in. So I've been talking about interruption versus disruption from a thought process, from an emotional process, and also from a mental process. I hope you've gathered one or two facts, and I hope you've learned something new. Thank you very much.